Good afternoon. You're welcome to News Hour live on GBC News and Governance channel. My name is Micheline Tucker. You're most welcome. Christians are commemorating the resurrection of Jesus Christ today. The day is described in the New Testament as having occurred on the third day after his death, following his crucifixion by the Romans at Calvary. Speaking to some 50,000 people in St. Peter's Square, Rome, in his Easter message, Pope Francis urged world leaders to hear the people's plea for peace in Ukraine. The pontiff called for free access to Jerusalem's holy sites for all worshippers. He also called for reconciliation among the people of Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Libya, Myanmar, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, which he is due to visit in July. You're watching News Hour. Most Reverend Dr. Kwabena Boafo says Jesus' resurrection from the dead makes him trustworthy of his preachings of the good news. He says that it is also a pillar for hope for all Christians.
This is the biggest event in the history of humanity that calls for celebration. Why? Because for the Good Friday to Holy Saturday to Easter morning, people lived in hopelessness. People lived as if the world had come to an end, especially the disciples of Jesus. But going to anoint the body of Jesus, to continue with the mortuary rites so that he could be buried properly, they go there and he is not there. Not there in the sense that he's been taken away from that tomb, but that he is risen. He is risen. And the words that come from the angels who met these women and the voice that they hear connotes a big victory. Victory over sin, victory over death, victory over the grave.
Unleavened bread, as we know it, is bread prepared with no rising agents such as yeast. And the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo, explains that eating of the unleavened bread signifies a period of God's visitation.
Christmas and Easter are important events on the Christian calendar, with the birth and resurrection of Jesus Christ as a victor over sin, death, and the grave. The two festivals connotes the saving power of God through his grace, mercy, and love for humankind. There are various events mapping up to the celebration, and one of such is the unleavened bread. Most Reverend Dr. Kwabena Boafo takes us through the journey of the ritual in an exclusive interview with GBC News.
In the days of the bondage of Israel in Egypt, they cried unto the Lord for deliverance or for salvation. And the Lord was going to deliver them, and it was to be in haste. And so he told them in Exodus chapter 12 that they should prepare the food that they are going to eat using unleavened bread. So all we are saying, or what the Bible means by unleavened bread, is the bread that has no material to let the dough rise.
It has symbolic importance in both Judaism and Christianity. Jews and Christians consume the bread such as matzah during the Passover period as commanded in Exodus 12:18. Among the rituals for this period is the Easter egg. Early Christians in Mesopotamia dyed eggs in the period after Easter, which practice was later adopted by the Orthodox churches, spreading later into Western Europe.
A Hyundai Creta saloon car with registration number GW4826-20 ran into about 6 people after veering off the road at an area called Christian Quarters at Abetifi in the eastern region.
The accident, which occurred on Sunday morning, claimed the life of a 10-year-old boy, Master Emmanuel Atta Serebo Sr., while his twin brother, younger brother, cousin and 2 others sustained some injuries. The injured were rushed to the Abetifi Health Center for treatment. An eyewitness narrated the incident to GBC News. The head of the accident squad unit of the Abetifi police station, Inspector Ohene Mante, confirmed the accident, saying the driver, Charles Apia, has been arrested and is assisting the police with investigations.
The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto, has inspected vegetable farms belonging to the Pace and Love Vegetable Growers Association at Asokwa in the Ashanti region. He commended the farmers for conforming to best practices that has earned the association an accreditation to export their produce to the European markets.
The Peace and Love Vegetable Growers Association at Asokwa consists of over 100 farmers who are mainly into the cultivation of onions, chili pepper, carrots and lettuce. The Kwadaso Agriculture College and the Crops Research Institute of CSIR at Fumesia have adopted the association's vegetable farms for some of its research work and practical lessons. The Minister for Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto, has visited the vegetable farms of the association to acquaint himself with their operations. The farmers told the minister that the location of the farms within the greater Kumasi enclave is restricting them from expansion. The project coordinator of commercial agriculture projects in Ghana, Mr. Sewu Swajimai, said the government has rehabilitated many dams across the country to provide water to farmers all year round.
Irrigation dams are kasia miensa. Baku na Brongo Tono, Baku Suchari, Water River, no, Vifimanta Masio, Nifaso Baku, if you know, Pond irrigation scheme. And now we try to see so called the farm, North Tongu, Framantem, Hosobaku, Togome.
The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto, commended the farmers for engaging in greenhouse farming, which is a component of the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
This project here is part of the great Planting for Food and Jobs. There are 5 modules. What you are doing here as farmers comes under the 4th module, which is the greenhouse vegetable villages.
The Agric Minister later presented a container van to the association to facilitate their work.
As part of efforts to curb drug abuse among the youth in the country, Willing Way Foundation Ghana, with support from the Ghana Health Service, is on a sensitization campaign against the use of illegal drugs among the youth at senior high schools across the country. Studies by the Ghana Health Service indicate an increase in substance abuse among the youth. The campaign is therefore using the formation of small clubs in senior high schools to send its message across, which is to discourage the youth from using illegal drugs. The first batch of club has been outdoored at the Opoku-Ware School in the Ashanti region. An assistant headmaster of the school, Mr. Akwesi Boatin-Odro, said the formation of the Friends of Mental Health and Addiction Prevention Club in the school is timely, considering an increase in the dependence on substance by some students to boost their energy. The chief executive of Willing Way Foundation Ghana, Ms. Lydia Abnamenu, said members of the club will be equipped with knowledge on the effects of drug abuse.
We want to encourage them and also help them to desist from that act. And those who are into, we want to help them to come out.
The Ashanti Regional Director of the Mental Health Authority, Mrs. Faustina Nwako, said the figures of drug abuse among the youth is worrisome and demands immediate attention.
Every day in and day out, we bring youth, we bring the students who are abusing these psychoactive drugs. Many of them are having mental issues. So we decided that we will not sit in our facility alone. We will go out, we will reach out to the schools, we will go to their schools and educate them.
Some of the students gave reasons for joining the club.
Very happy with the talk they gave us. They advised that a lot and agreed to whatever they said. Today we learned that even depression is a sign that can lead you to drug abuse. And we've been witnessing some drug abuse in the school. We've been seeing people smoking weeds and other things.
The University of Health and Allied Sciences has awarded 2 honorary degrees onto 2 personalities at a ceremony at Ho in the Volta region. They are the Director of the Institute of Health Research at UHAS, Professor Margaret Japong, and the Executive Chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Sianwe Japong. The honorary doctorate award is the highest form of recognition by the university. The event coincided with the 6th graduation of the university. 692 students were awarded degrees after completing programs in the health and allied sciences. 2 honorary doctorate degrees award were also conferred on 2 personalities for their excellence in their areas of operation. The university conferred an honorary Doctor of Science degree on the executive chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Sianwe Japong. He was recognized for his contributions to environmental sanitation in Ghana and beyond. The director of the university's Institute of Health Research, Professor Margaret Japong, was also awarded an honorary doctorate degree for her contribution in the field of health research. Professor Margaret Japong was recently adjudged the best female scientist by the European and Developing Countries Clinical Trials Partnership. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor John Japong, said the university bestowed its highest honor on the 2 personalities for their contribution to society.
The good testimonies are out there. Please go out there and make us proud.
The executive chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Sianwe Japong, urged the students to put the knowledge they have acquired into practice.
One renowned Wall Street investment banker made a statement that the Bible is the most excellent advisor to every endeavor in every kind of life. Put God first in your life.
The 2 awardees thanked the University Council for the honor done them. Professor Margaret Japon donated her cash prize of €20,000 to the university to set up a fund to assist brilliant but needy female students who are pursuing health research, and Dr. Joseph Siawe Japon also promised to set up an award scheme in sanitation research at the university. Over 500 residents of Glefe, a community in Dansoman, have benefited from a free medical outreach. The exercise was facilitated by the Apostolic Empowerment Ministries as part of its Jesus Kitchen initiative of extending help to the needy in society.
During Easter, the Apostolic Empowerment Ministries celebrate the occasion with residents of underserved communities. For this year's celebration, the church extended its benevolence to residents of Glefe, a community in Dansoman. Over 400 residents were screened for diabetes, high blood pressure, and other ailments. The church also presented assorted items to the residents. The head pastor of the Apostolic Empowerment Ministries, Pastor Selassie Adai, said the gesture by the church is in line with the season.
It's something that we do every Easter. The church organizes outreach programs, and it depends on where we are led. Sometimes we go to the hospital, sometimes we go to the orphanage. So the church this time decided to come to a community near where the church is, which is Dansoman. So we came to Glefe in Dansoman to be a blessing to the people in the community.
He called on Christians to show love to the needy and vulnerable in society. For GBC News, Hega Owusu, Accra.
An official residence for the moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana has been inaugurated in Accra.
His Father, Son, and Holy.
The moderator of the church, Professor Joseph Obriyebua-Mante, was joined by past moderators of the General Assembly of the Presby Church to officially open the building. This is the first time in 194 years that the Presby Church has built a manse for its moderator. Since 1823, moderators of the church have been living in residences that are not owned by the church. On assumption of office, some well-meaning members realized there was an urgent need to construct a purpose-built residence with a full range of amenities befitting the status of the moderator. The project architect, Mr. Tony Asari, described the edifice as a perfect and imperfect vessel of God.
We settled on a philosophy that this building should represent the perfect, imperfect vessel of God. The perfect, imperfect vessel of God. And so, if for us as architects, we are visual, so we have to convert the building into some kind of geometry and interpret it in such a way that when you see it, you should be able to say that there is something odd about the building, though it is nice. You can look, when you look at the building, you realize that we have these V-shaped buildings which we basically use to represent the vessel of God. All the internal things that you see is very inordinate, informal, which is the imperfection of who man is, but God makes us perfect to be able to do his work.
Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obriyebua-Mante thanked the architects, consultants, committee members, and all who worked tirelessly to complete the project.
This is the first time we are ever building a house for a moderator. We've not done it before. So all our over the years, this is the first time we're building a house for a moderator.
The manse, which is built on a 3-acre land, has a 6-bedroom capacity multi-purpose room, a library and horticultural garden, among other facilities. A tree was planted to serve as a memorial for the residents.
You are watching News Hour live on GBC News, a News and Governance channel. Time to catch up on some of the past week's major stories in pictures. As the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications says it is working in unison with the Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure that technicalities concerning the implementation of the E-levy are addressed before the 1st of May. In an earlier interview, the Chief Executive of the Chamber, Dr. Ken Ashigbe, said the phased approach, which was to be used earlier for implementation, has now been changed to a full haul approach after the E-levy bill was passed into law.
SIM registration was supposed to end by the 31st of March. So the agreement we had with GRA then was to do a phased approach. The waiver that government wants to do was supposed to be per person. But the complexity of it and the fact that SIM registration had not been done, what was agreed was that we're going to do the first phase, which then was going to end on the 31st of March. Okay. But then, now that the bill has been passed into law, we noticed that that whole phased approach is not in the bill. And when we met the Minister for Finance and the Minister of State for Finance, they then mentioned that we're now going to go the full hog, and it was no more going to be the phased approach. But so now we are now working with a new implementation project, where now we are going the full hog. Because our members, once we had that conversation with the GRA, we had gone in and, working with their vendors, done development, and so we're ready to go with that. But now with this one, there had to be new engagement with GRA. So I would say so far so good. The interesting thing about this particular tax implementation is that it's not only for our members to do. The GRA are putting together a common platform on which our members are supposed to connect for the tax.
Inflationary winds blowing across the world has pushed prices of goods and services in Ghana up, with the month of March recording inflation of 19.4%. This makes the inflation of March 2022 the highest since 2009. GBC News was in Nima Market in Accra to find out more about how the hike in fuel prices is affecting prices of commodities as the Ghanaians join the rest of the world to celebrate Easter.
The persistent rise in the price of food items on the market has been a worry for many households, as more money is now being used to purchase few food items for their Easter meals. Latest report on inflation by the Ghana Statistical Service shows that inflation for March 2022 stood at 19.4%, the highest in 12 years. This figure is about 10% more than the Bank of Ghana's earlier projection of +10 or -2%. GBC News was at the Nima Market to interact with some traders on the effect the price hikes is having on their business. The Nima Market is known for the relatively cheaper prices of both food and non-food items. However, the traders say the situation is changing, as they also have to adjust their prices in order to break even. Madam Asana Abubakari, who sells cereals including maize, says she now sells an olunka of millet for 17 cedis from 10 cedis some months back. According to her, her suppliers blame it on the increase in transport fares due to an increase in fuel prices, which is attributed to the war in Ukraine.
Ebuwa ekrosura na eko yente soda de bia na ekosoro de bia na ekosoro omo se omo kuntakwa wo ayi de bia omo kuntakwa no nti na nema no emba no ti se bibi ti se millet say they say millet 6,600,000 they say konko ba ko no 17 cedis I too much.
A tomato trader, Madam Evelyn Akutete, said the price of fresh tomatoes has gone up compared with last year. This has led to a drop in demand for the commodity, and because tomato is a perishable commodity, she has incurred losses. Other traders of non-food items, such as Madam Akwete, who sells traditional soup, popularly known as Alata Samina, also said the soaps are very expensive at source, so they do not have any option than to add margins by which they would at least break even. Despite the current inflation rate at over 19%, the traders were still hopeful that these economic tides will soon pass for a more friendly business environment. This is because April is a season for sowing, and if the rains continue as expected, it will bring in a bumper harvest to reduce the inflationary pressures on our pockets.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has been tasked to not only put in systems to improve revenue mobilization, but also ensure revenue compliance. Speaking at Annual Tax and Good Governance Week in Accra, a Deputy Minister for Finance, Madam Abena Osei-Asare, said ensuring tax compliance should be at the lowest cost to both the taxpayer and the Ghana Revenue Authority.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has been tasked to mobilize a total tax revenue of 80.3 billion Ghana cedis. This translates to a tax to GDP ratio of 16.5% from the current 13.4%. The use of digital platforms has been cited as one of the avenues to be used to meet the 80.3 billion Ghana cedis target and clamp down on tax evasion by the public. At the Annual Tax and Good Governance Week in Accra, a Deputy Minister for Finance, Madam Abena Osei-Asare, lauded the GRA for the use of various digital platforms to improve the taxpayers' experience.
This year, filing is being done on the developed application referred to as the Taxpayers Portal. And this portal is a secure tax management tool developed by GRA and its partners, which will enable taxpayers to file their returns, initiate payments, apply for refunds, and undertake other transactions with ease and convenience. We expect that our clients, the taxpayers, will therefore take advantage of these initiatives to be compliant.
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Dr. Amishadai Owusu-Amwa, said all medium and individual taxpayers have the option to file their taxes online.
If you find out that you have paid more than what you ought to pay, we actually do refund taxes to people, and we actually pay cash. So it's not also true that we always hold your credit and then wait till another year comes and then we use the credit to. If we find out that we have overpaid, and you will never know that you have overpaid unless you file. So filing is not only to make sure that we collect more from you, but to also make sure that we have not also paid more than what you ought to pay. And if we find out you have paid more than what you ought to pay, we do refund to people. So filing is very, very important.
GRE says its ultimate desire is to ensure that all taxpayers are compliant.
Since its establishment in September 2011, PIAG has exercised oversight responsibility of monitoring and evaluating the management and use of Ghana's petroleum revenues by the government and stakeholders institutions. At the launch of its 2021 annual report in Accra, the head of Payroll Processing Directorate, Councillor, Controller and Accountant General's Department, Mrs. Angela Piasa, urged PIAG to keep the relevance of its existence by being innovative.
I wish to suggest that now that the committee is stabilizing, could we look beyond our legal remit of oil revenue and its management and consider exploring into other related areas such as sustainability, SDGs, or even lesson sharing that impacts the national dialogue as a way of optimizing our visibility and relevance. In my personal discussions around governance structures, I have always referred to PIAG committee structure, where membership changes in a continuum, such that you don't have old people going and new people coming, but you have new people joining old people, so they are warmed up into the process. The learning curve is shortened. I think it's one of the strengths of PIAG. I just want to challenge our current PIAG. I think as far as reporting and public engagements are concerned, we are peaking. We are really there. But we want to, if we want to keep the relevance of our institution, we need to be a bit more innovative and maybe a bit more adventurous in seeing how we can further impact on the national dialogue.
That's all for business. We'll be back shortly with the international segment, sports and entertainment.